On a stormy evening, Jack Mercer stood in his penthouse overlooking the Chicago skyline. At 38, he was a name that resonated in architectural circles, a visionary behind eco-friendly skyscrapers that transformed urban landscapes. His latest triumph, the Crescent Tower, had been lauded as a masterpiece of sustainable design. But as rain lashed against the glass and lightning illuminated the sprawling city below, Jack felt none of the satisfaction such acclaim should bring. His life was a blueprint of success, precise, calculated, and unyielding. Yet somewhere along the way, he had lost sight of what mattered. His phone buzzed incessantly with project updates and invitations to exclusive galas. Jack ignored them, his gaze fixed on the city. His thoughts drifted, unbidden, to Elena, the woman who had walked out of his life 2 years ago. She had been his anchor, a contrast to his relentless ambition, her laughter and warmth a reminder of a world beyond deadlines and designs. And now, with the storm raging both outside and within, Jack stood alone, haunted by what he couldn't reclaim. As thunder rolled across the city, he had no idea that his meticulously ordered world was about to be upended by an unexpected visitor. Jack's brooding was interrupted by the intercom crackling to life. "Mr. Mercer?" The voice of the building security guard carried an unusual tension. "You need to come down to the lobby. There's something you need to see." Jack hesitated, surprised by the urgency in the guard's voice. In all his years living in the luxury high-rise, there had never been an issue that required his immediate attention. "What is it?" Jack asked. "I think you should see it for yourself, sir," the guard replied, his tone cautious. Reluctantly, Jack threw on his coat and took the elevator down. The ride felt interminably slow, the storm's fury visible through the glass walls as the city lights blurred past. When the doors finally opened to the marble-floored lobby, Jack spotted a small bundle placed just inside the revolving doors. "It's a baby," the guard said, his face pale. "We found her about 10 minutes ago." Jack stepped closer, his heart racing as he heard the muffled sound of crying. Kneeling down, he gently pulled back the edges of a soft yellow blanket to reveal a baby girl with wide, tearful eyes. Nestled beside her was an envelope, the rain-spotted paper marked with familiar handwriting. His hands trembled as he opened the letter. "Her name is Lily. She needs you more than I do now. I'm sorry." The signature at the bottom made his heart stop. It was Elena. Jack froze, his mind reeling. Lily? Elena? A baby? None of it made sense, yet the undeniable truth stared back at him from those dark, curious eyes. "Sir, what should we do?" the guard asked hesitantly. Jack straightened, holding the baby closer. "She's coming with me." Jack's penthouse, once a sanctuary of sleek modern design, now felt utterly unprepared for its newest occupant. He placed Lily on the couch, her small cries echoing in the cavernous space. Panic set in, as Jack realized he had no idea how to care for a baby. He grabbed his phone, typing in frantic searches. "How to calm a crying baby," followed by "emergency baby supplies near me." Within an hour, his living room was a battlefield of hastily purchased items: diapers, bottles, formula, blankets, all delivered by bewildered couriers. Jack fumbled with a bottle warmer, spilling formula on his designer rug. Lily's cries only grew louder. Okay, I've built skyscrapers," he muttered to himself. "I can handle this." He swaddled Lily awkwardly and carried her around the room, humming a tune he vaguely remembered from his childhood. After what felt like an eternity, her cries softened, and she drifted off to sleep. Jack collapsed onto the couch, cradling her against his chest, exhaustion and bewilderment settling in. The following days were a crash course in fatherhood. Jack learned to juggle diaper changes with work calls, and he developed an uncanny ability to balance Lily in one arm while reviewing blueprints with the other. But the chaos also brought clarity. Late one night, Jack sat by the window, Lily asleep in a bassinet nearby. As he watched the city lights, his thoughts returned to Elena. Why had she left? Why hadn't she told him about Lily? He hired a private investigator, determined to find answers. A week later, the investigator called with news. Elena had left Chicago shortly after their breakup. Medical records showed she'd been hospitalized multiple times during her pregnancy, with complications that suggested a difficult journey. Jack felt a pang of guilt. While he had buried himself in work, nursing his wounded pride, Elena had been fighting alone. As Jack looked at Lily, he realized she was changing him in ways he hadn't anticipated. The drive for perfection that had once fueled his career now shifted toward being the best father he could be. He began spending less time at his office and more time at home, learning Lily's quirks and rhythms. One night, as Jack fed Lily a bottle, she reached up and grabbed his finger, her tiny hand wrapping around it with surprising strength. Jack felt something in him shift, a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. "She's perfect," he whispered, his voice filled with awe. But questions about Elena lingered. Why had she left Lily with him now, after so much time? What had she been running from? One evening, as Lily lay peacefully in her crib, the investigator called again. "We've uncovered something troubling," the voice on the other end said. Elena didn't just leave, she was manipulated. Jack's grip on the phone tightened, his heart pounding. "What are you saying?" "Your mentor, Vincent, orchestrated everything," the investigator continued. "He forged documents, created false narratives, and convinced Elena you would reject both her and the baby. She fled because she thought she had no choice." Jack's world spun. Vincent, the man he had trusted, the man who had shaped his career, had not only betrayed him, but had endangered Elena and Lily's lives. Guilt and fury surged through him, a storm as fierce as the one raging outside his window. Rage simmered within Jack as he stared at his sleeping daughter. He had been blind to the betrayal happening within his own circle. "I'll make this right," he vowed. For her. For both of them. Jack stared out at the Chicago skyline, Vincent's betrayal replaying in his mind. The man he had trusted to mentor him, to guide his career, had orchestrated the greatest loss of his life. The private investigator's report was thorough. Shortly after leaving Chicago, Elena had sought prenatal care at a clinic in Boston. Medical records revealed a series of complications: severe stress, frequent fainting spells, and preterm contractions. Each visit was marked by payments made to clinic staff from offshore accounts linked to Vincent. Jack's chest tightened as he read the details. While he had been buried in blueprints and board meetings, Elena had been fighting to keep their child safe, alone and terrified. But why now? Why had she decided to leave Lily with him? The investigator provided an answer. Elena had checked into a small medical center in a coastal town 2 weeks ago, suffering from exhaustion and lingering complications from her pregnancy. Jack's heart sank. She hadn't abandoned Lily. She was too sick to care for her. Jack wasted no time. Within hours, he arranged a private flight to the town where Elena was staying. He left Lily in the care of a trusted pediatric nurse, determined to find the answers he needed and the woman he still couldn't forget. The town was quiet, its streets lined with modest homes and mom-and-pop shops. Jack's car rolled to a stop outside a modest medical center, surrounded by tall pines. Inside, a doctor greeted him with a calm but firm demeanor. "Mr. Mercer, Elena is recovering, but she's fragile. This isn't the time for confrontations." "I just need to see her," Jack insisted. The doctor hesitated before leading him to a private room. Jack's heart pounded as he stepped inside. Elena lay in a hospital bed, her skin pale, dark circles under her eyes. She looked smaller than he remembered, her once vibrant presence dulled by exhaustion. When her eyes met his, they filled with disbelief, and a tear rolled down her cheek before panic set in. "No," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You shouldn't be here. I didn't want you to see me like this." "Elena," Jack said gently, stepping closer. "Stop running. Please." "I had to protect her," she said, tears spilling down her cheeks. "From you. From him." Jack knelt beside her bed. "Vincent lied to you. He manipulated you into thinking I wouldn't want Lily, that I'd see her as a burden. But he was wrong, Elena. I want her. I want both of you." Elena stared at him, her expression a mix of disbelief and longing. "You don't understand. He made me believe." "I know," Jack interrupted, his voice thick with emotion. "And I'll fix it, whatever it takes. Just come back to me." For a moment, silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken words. Then Elena's hand reached out, trembling, to rest on his. "Lily?" she asked softly. "She's safe," Jack assured her, "and waiting for you." Jack left the medical center with a renewed sense of purpose. Elena needed time to heal, but Vincent couldn't be allowed to cause more harm. As Jack's car sped toward the city, he reviewed the evidence against his mentor, a damning collection of forged documents, suspicious payments, and communications designed to isolate Elena and manipulate Jack's life. The next morning, Jack walked into the boardroom of Mercer & Co., his firm, where Vincent stood addressing the other executives. The room went silent as Jack entered, a folder of documents under his arm. "Well, Jack," Vincent said smoothly, masking his unease, "glad you could join us. We were just discussing the firm's next major project." Jack strode to the table with measured steps, each one heavy with the weight of betrayal. He placed the folder down deliberately, the sound echoing in the silent boardroom. Slowly, he opened it, revealing damning evidence: forged custody papers, offshore transactions, and bribes. "We need to talk," he said, his voice like ice. "About betrayal." Confused murmurs rippled through the room as the executives leaned forward. "These documents," Jack began, his voice calm but icy, "show a calculated attempt to sabotage my personal life, manipulate my decisions, and even jeopardize the health of my child. All orchestrated by the man I trusted most." Vincent laughed nervously. "Jack, surely this is a misunderstanding." Jack's eyes locked onto his former mentors. "The only misunderstanding here was me trusting you." He pressed a button on his phone, projecting emails and transaction records onto the screen. The room fell silent as the evidence became irrefutable. Offshore accounts, falsified legal documents, and bribes to medical staff, each piece meticulously traced back to Vincent. "You didn't just betray me," Jack continued, his voice rising. "You endangered Elena and my daughter. And for what? To control the firm? To ensure I stayed focused on your agenda?" Vincent's mask of composure cracked. "I did it for the company, Jack. For you. Elena was a distraction, a liability. You were destined for greatness, and I couldn't let her hold you back." Jack's fists clenched. "Elena and Lily aren't liabilities. They're my family, and you nearly destroyed them." As security entered the room, Vincent's protests grew frantic. "You'll regret this, Jack. Everything you've built." Jack cut him off. "I'll rebuild it. Without you." That evening, Jack returned to the coastal town where Elena was recovering. He brought Lily with him this time, carefully cradling her as he entered her hospital room. Elena's eyes widened at the sight of their daughter. Tears welled as Jack gently placed Lily in her arms. "She's perfect," Elena whispered, her voice breaking. "She's been waiting for her mother," Jack said softly. Elena looked up at him, her expression filled with both gratitude and sorrow. "I didn't think we could have this. Not after everything." Jack knelt beside her. "We can. We do. But only if we face it together." For the first time in years, Elena smiled, a tentative, hopeful smile that spoke of healing and new beginnings. A month later, Jack, Elena, and Lily stood together in the penthouse Jack had transformed into a home. Gone were the cold, minimalist designs of his bachelor life. In their place were warm textures, soft lighting, and a nursery filled with soothing greens and yellows, designed with Lily's comfort in mind. Elena walked slowly through the space, pausing to run her fingers along the edge of the crib. "You did all this?" she asked, her voice filled with emotion. "I had some help," Jack admitted with a small smile. "But it's not just a house anymore. It's a place for us. A family." Elena turned to him, Lily nestled against her chest. "I never thought we'd have this again. I didn't think it was possible." Jack stepped closer, his voice soft but firm. "Neither did I. But when I held Lily for the first time, something in me shifted. She showed me what I'd been missing. What really matters isn't the skyline I built, but the family I almost lost." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opening it, he revealed a simple yet elegant ring. "Elena," he began, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "I don't want this just for Lily or because of the past. I want this because I love you, because I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I deserve to be with you. Will you marry me?" Elena's breath hitched as tears filled her eyes. She looked at Lily, then back at Jack. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Yes, to all of it." Jack slipped the ring onto her finger, relief and joy flooding him. He leaned down to kiss her, their daughter squirming between them with a soft gurgle of contentment. As the evening light filled the nursery, their future felt full of promise, one built not on ambition, but on love, redemption, and hope. As Jack Mercer's story shows us, success isn't measured by towering skylines or overflowing bank accounts. It's found in the people we love and the courage to fight for them. If you were moved by Jack's journey from ambition to redemption, from loss to love, then make sure to subscribe to our channel. Here we bring you stories that inspire, touch your heart, and remind you of what truly matters. Click subscribe now and turn on notifications to never miss a story that could change the way you see your world. And remember, just like Jack, we all have the power to rewrite our story. Share your thoughts in the comments. What does success mean to you? What would you fight for? Thank you for being a part of our growing community. Together, let's celebrate stories of love, courage, and the strength to overcome life's challenges. See you in next video.